Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Saint again. Friends, we are going to read the story Violet the Pilot. And we are going to think about the main character in this story, Violet, and focus on her character traits. Character traits can be external things that can be seen, like what does she look like or what actions does she do? But you know what? Character traits can also be internal. And internal character traits are things that we learn about that character's personality, things that we can see through his or her thoughts and words and feelings. So let's be focusing on Violet as we read this story, and let's be thinking about external and internal character traits. Everyone in town knew that Violet Van Winkle was a little different. For starters, she and her parents lived in an odd-looking house next to the junkyard her father managed. And while other girls were playing with dolls and tea sets, Violet played with monkey wrenches and needle-nosed pliers. Violet was a mechanical genius. By the time she was 2, she could fix almost any broken appliance in the house. By 4, she could take apart the grandfather clock and completely reassemble it. Since she didn't have any friends aside from her dog, Orville, she would spend hours tinkering with things from the yard. Violet's parents were very proud of her, although they weren't too happy the time she put a lawnmower engine on her cousin's tricycle. The older she got, the more interesting Violet's creations became. Around the time she turned 8, she was building elaborate machines from scratch. Not just any old machines. Flying machines. Her parents couldn't believe their eyes when they saw Violet zoom by for the first time. They were a little worried in the beginning, but they quickly saw that she was a pretty good pilot. "Be careful not to hit the house," Violet's father would yell. "And put on a sweater," her mother would add. Violet used anything she could find in the junkyard to make her wonderful contraptions. There was the tub bubbler and the bicocopter, the rocket can, the pogo plane, the slide glider, and the wingamajig, to name a few. Violet's engineering was pretty sound. The only real hazards were tall trees, piles of junk in the yard, and bugs in her teeth. Kids at school would see Violet eating lunch alone and make fun of her strange books and greasy coveralls. Claude and Kyle Mulrooney were especially obnoxious. Then one day, Violet noticed a poster in the drugstore window. "Air Show, October 20th, it read. That's only 2 weeks away, Violet thought. Can kids fly in the show? Is homemade aircraft allowed? That night, Violet sat in her room thinking about the air show. She knew it would be a good feeling if one of her planes won a prize. And maybe then the kids at school would be nice to her. Violet pictured exactly where she would hang her blue ribbon. She and Orville spent the next few days combing the junkyard for just the right materials. When they had collected a giant pile of stuff, the building began. One day, the Mulrooney twins happened to pass by. "Look, it's that girl from school," one of them said. "What are you doing, weirdo?" "I'm building an airplane," she told them. The twins exploded in laughter, then mumbled something mean as they walked away. Orville barked at the boys, but Violet just went back to her project. "Take it easy, buddy," she said. "We're too busy to worry about them." Finally, after days of hard work, Violet had finished making her flying machine. She named the magnificent new craft the Hornet. "Wait till people in the grandstand see me flying this," Violet said to Orville. The test flight was a success. On the day of the big air show, Violet took off, bursting with excitement. Her parents' faces had beamed with pride when they wished her luck, and she thought about that as she flew through the clear autumn sky. She calculated that the trip would take about 20 minutes. She would arrive just in time for the start of the show. Suddenly, something caught Violet's eye. In the river below, a group of people were waving frantically. Violet lowered her altitude to get a better look. A troop of Boy Scouts had run into trouble while canoeing. Violet knew she had to help, fast. It wasn't easy rescuing all the boys, but Violet piloted the Hornet with careful precision. Saving the Scoutmaster from going over the falls was particularly dangerous. Violet dropped the grateful Scouts off at the hospital. Then she checked her watch. 3:30, she said to Orville sadly. "We've missed the air show." She turned her plane toward home and sighed. It was a miserable feeling. That evening, Violet had no appetite for dinner. She just went upstairs and sat on her bed. All of a sudden, she heard lots of noise outside the house. She and Orville went to the window and discovered that a crowd of people had gathered. Someone spotted her. "There's Violet!" "Violet!" the boy shouted jubilantly. "There's our hero." The Van Winkle stepped outside, squinting from all the flash bulbs that were popping. The press, the mayor, the fire and police chiefs, even kids and teachers from school had all learned of the rescue that day and had come to praise her.
"Young lady, please accept this Medal of Valor as a token of our gratitude and esteem,"
said the mayor. And he gave Orville a new collar with a license that read K9 Hero. From that day on, Violet's parents let her fly wherever she wanted. But her mom still made her wear a sweater. Okay, guys. So now what I would like you to do is look into today's packet from Monday. And you're going to find a paper that is going to let you record some things, write some things down, because I'm noticing that as Violet got older, the things that she created and built became more complicated and more interesting. So I want you to list what you learned about Violet's internal and external character traits. Remember, external are things that you could see about her. How did she change? What are some things that you would have been able to see with your eyes how she changed? And internal, how did she change inside? Think about her emotions and her feelings and things that were happening to her and what she thought about those things through the story. You're going to list on that activity page in Monday's packet, you're going to list the details from the story to write a few sentences about why you think her creations became more interesting as she grew older. Why do you think that is? So go ahead and stop our video. And if you need to, and you need to listen to the story again so that you can really focus on internal and external character traits, you can listen to it again before you do your paper so that you know what to be looking for. Alrighty, have a good day. I know you're going to do great.